A very good morning to Standard 8 class. Students, be thankful for what you have. You will end up having more. If you concentrate on what you don't have, you will never ever have enough. With this positive note, let us start with a new lesson, that is lesson number 18, ecosystems. Okay, we have completed lesson number 17, that is man-made materials. From this video, let us understand lesson number 18, which is a topic based on environmental science. Okay, so are you all excited to understand this new lesson? Okay, so let's begin. Yes, we are going to start lesson number 18, ecosystems. Students, what topics we are going to cover in this chapter? That let us understand one by one. Okay, the very first topic or term that we are going to learn is what is an ecosystem or what are ecosystems. Okay, then we are going to learn components of ecosystem. What are the different parts of an ecosystem? Third, structure of an ecosystem. Yes, very important, structure of an ecosystem that we are going to see. Fourth, we are going to see that what are biomes. Specifically, we are going to understand what are land biomes. So while studying land biomes, what we are going to do? We are going to study three different topics under that. We have grassland ecosystem, we have evergreen forest, and then we have aquatic ecosystem. I repeat, grassland ecosystem, evergreen forest, and aquatic ecosystem. Okay, these three things we are going to learn under land biomes. Okay, don't worry, everything we are going to understand in detail. And last topic, which is very important, students, it is diminishment of ecosystem due to human interference. Lot of human activities are carried out in and around, right, in our surroundings. Yes, so this topic is really important. Diminishment, yes, degradation, yes, of ecosystem due to human interference, that we are going to learn at the last. Okay, I hope you have understood all the topics that we are going to cover. In the next upcoming video, students, we are going to learn the very first topic, that is what is an ecosystem. Okay, till then, take care. Welcome back to the science class. Students, in the previous video, we have seen what topics we are going to cover under lesson number 18, that is ecosystems. So, in this video, let us understand what is an ecosystem with examples. So, let's start. Yes, we are learning chapter number 18, ecosystems. Yes, let us understand what is an ecosystem. Before that, students, a small activity we have to do is we have to classify the following entries, okay, into living and non-living factors. Yes, which are living and which are non-living. We have to make two columns and divide it. Yes, the very first we have sunlight, sunflower, elephant, lotus, algae, stone, grass, water, ant, soil, cat, fern, air, and lion. Okay, one or two examples I can share it out. Okay, as answer is, see, sunflower, elephant can be grouped into living factors. Yes, they are growing, something which is growing. Yes, is sunflower, elephant. We can have algae also, lotus also, grass. Yes, these are a few examples of living factors. Non-living factors, we have student sunlight, stone, water, soil, air. Yes, these will come under non-living factors. So, simple to understand how to classify them into living and non-living. Okay. Now, let us understand what are ecosystems. Students, the world around us is made up of living and non-living factors, correct? Living and non-living things. Now, living factors are called as biotic factors. Living means biotic, while non-living are called as abiotic factors. So, two important terms here we need to understand is, what are biotic factors? Something which is living, something which is a living factor. Abiotic factors will be non-living factors. Okay. Now there is a continuous interaction between these living and non-living factors. Okay, if you observe a particular habitat or a region, there is continuous interaction. Some or the other reaction, mutual relationship can be seen between these living and non-living factors. Yes, or components. Now, living organisms and their habitat, environment are correlated with each other. So, wherever we have these living organisms and a particular habitat, they are always correlated with each other. Okay. Now, the structure which is formed due to this mutual relationships, okay, due to this mutual understanding relationships, whatever structure which we get as a product is known as an ecosystem. It includes both living factors and non-living factors both, right? So biotic factors and abiotic factors and their ecosystem, their interactions, they form an ecosystem. Okay, biotic and abiotic factors and their interactions form an ecosystem. So simply students, can I say that all the plants and animals in a particular region or a area, when they are considered together with their surroundings, is known as ecosystem? Yes, I can say this. We can say this. Okay. And if you want to have a proper definition for this, let us put it this way, that a community or a group of living organisms, a community or a group of living organisms that live in and interact with each other in a specific environment, in a particular area, in a particular region, in a particular habitat. Okay, so this would be the definition for ecosystem. We have to consider both the living and the non-living factors. This you don't have to forget. Okay, this is very really important. Not only living organisms, no, living organisms will interact with other non-living factors also, like stone, sand, air, sunlight. Even these are important for their growth. So all together is known as an ecosystem. Okay, the structure which is formed due to this reciprocal interrelationships is called an ecosystem. Reciprocal means mutual here, mutual understanding, mutual relationships that they have created. Okay, that is formed. Yes, after a particular period of time is known as ecosystem. So I hope you have understood the definition of ecosystem. In the next video, let us understand the components of an ecosystem in detail. Okay, so thank you and take care all. Welcome back to the science class, students. Students, in the previous video, we have seen what is an ecosystem, the definition of it, what are the properties of an ecosystem. Yes, everything we have covered in the first previous video. In this video, let us understand components of an ecosystem. So there is a flowchart which is given in the textbook. Let us understand that, okay, one by one. So let's begin. We're learning chapter number 18, ecosystems. Yes, in this video, let us understand components of ecosystems. Okay, this particular flowchart is given in your textbook, students. If you see, broadly, we have ecosystem at the center, and then broadly, ecosystem is divided into two factors, abiotic factors and biotic factors. Okay, students, what is an abiotic factor? Living or non-living? Non-living, right? Correct. So abiotic factors are non-living factors. Biotic factors are living factors. Okay. Now, abiotic factors can be divided into two types. Okay. It is further divided into two types. Physical and chemical. For physical, we have examples like air, water vapor, minerals, soil, sunlight. These are physical ones, physical abiotic factors. For chemical abiotic factors, if you go through the examples, you can see that chemical abiotic factors is further subdivided into two types, inorganic substances and organic substances. Yes. So in inorganic substances, we have examples as hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, calcium, iron, potassium, sodium. For organic substances, we have examples as proteins, carbohydrates, and lipids. Okay. So these were the examples of abiotic factors. This was the description of abiotic factors, non-living factors. okay, in our ecosystem. Now let us understand biotic factors, living factors which are living, okay. Now biotic factors initially is divided into three types, okay, into three types: producers, consumers, decomposers. Producers, consumers, decomposers, okay. If you see the very first type, producers, this is autotrophic in nature. Autotrophic in nature means they are capable of producing their own food. They can prepare their own food, they can manufacture their own food. And we have best example as plants, which are known as producers. So they are autotrophic means they can prepare their own food. Clear that particular region? Okay. Now coming to second section, that is consumers. Consumers means to consume, right? Now here, if you see, consumers and decomposers both have heterotrophic property. Means they are heterotrophic in nature. Hetero means dependent upon other. Other. Hetero means other. So dependent upon others for food. They cannot prepare their own food. So if you look at the examples of consumers, animals come under consumers. For decomposers, we have example as microorganisms or microbes. They are very much involved in the process of decomposition, so they are under decomposers. Okay. For consumers, as I said, example is animals. In animals also, we have three different parts. Okay, we have primary consumers. Second, we have secondary consumers. Third, we have tertiary consumers. Primary, secondary, and tertiary consumers. And these consumers, they come under animals. Okay. So, if you broadly look at biotic factors, first of all, it is divided into producers, consumers, decomposers. Producers are plants, consumers are animals, decomposers are microbes. Okay. Producers are always autotrophic in nature, they can prepare their own food. Heterotrophic nature, examples are consumers and decomposers. They cannot prepare their own food, but they depend upon others for consuming food to get energy. Okay. Now animals again is divided into three types, like primary consumers, secondary consumers, and tertiary consumers. Why I'm repeating this? So that if you remember this particular flow chart, okay, it is really going to help out in the further concepts which are present in the chapter, how they are interrelated. And please remember, when I define ecosystem, all plants, animals, biotic factors all come under this. Okay, so abiotic factors we saw as physical, chemical, inorganic substances and organic substances. For biotic factors, we saw a lot of animals and plants and microbes which comes under biotic factors. I hope this particular chart is clear to you all. Okay. Now students, the organic substances like carbohydrates, we have seen example of organic substances like carbohydrates, proteins and lipids. Yes, from dead bodies of plants and animals are converted into inorganic substances. So organic substances can be converted to inorganic substances like hydrogen, oxygen, calcium, iron, sodium, potassium, etc., by microorganisms. You must be wondering that organic substance is getting converted into inorganic. But how? Who is carrying out this process? Students, microorganisms are going to carry out this conversion of organic to inorganic substances. So therefore, microbes are said to be decomposers. Remember, these complex substances are getting converted into simpler ones. And who is doing this? Decomposers. We have lot of microbes like fungi, bacteria. Yes, they are all involved in this particular decomposition process. So that's why they are known as decomposers. Decomposers are also important for all of us. Okay, always remember that each and every factor in an ecosystem are interrelated, are important. Okay, and the importance I am going to say one by one in further slides, in further videos. Okay, I will cite examples where we will try to find out how it is important. Yes, how all factors are important in an ecosystem. Okay. So further concepts we will see in the next video, students. Till then, thank you and take care all. Welcome to a fresh morning standard 8 class. Students, in lesson number 18, that is ecosystems, we have seen the definition for ecosystem, components of ecosystem. Remember the chart, that flow chart that we have studied in detail about ecosystem. Okay, in this video, let us understand structure of an ecosystem. Okay, in detail. So let's get started. We're learning chapter number 18, ecosystems. Yes, we are going to concentrate on the topic structure of an ecosystem. Okay, students, the very first point is living organisms need different types of abiotic factors and they have different capacities to adapt, to adjust with those abiotic factors. We all know that ecosystem is made up of two factors, right? Which are those? Biotic factors and biotic factors. Yes, living organisms comes under biotic factors. So living organisms are dependent upon the abiotic factors, and depending upon their different capacities they will adapt with those abiotic factors also. Now some microbes, they need oxygen while others don't. Yes, some microbes which are called as decomposers, they need oxygen to carry out the decomposition process or the degradation process, while some microbes do not require oxygen at all. Okay. Now some plants need more sunlight while others grow well in shade. Okay. So what we understand that each and every abiotic factor, like we have air, water, soil, sunlight, temperature, humidity, these are examples of abiotic factors. They affect the biotic factors in the ecosystem. So whatever points I have discussed now, with this one thing is clear that each and every abiotic factor will affect the biotic factors, means living organisms, in a particular habitat, in a particular ecosystem. Understood these 2 points? Now the abiotic factors in an ecosystem decide which biotic factors will survive in it and what will be their number. So who is going to decide which living organisms is going to survive? Abiotic factors, yes, is going to decide which biotic factors will survive in it. And how much, what is the number, that also will be decided by abiotic factors only. The proportion of abiotic factors in an ecosystem is always changing as biotic factors use or excrete abiotic factors. Now here we have to remember that proportion, that is the amount of abiotic factors, is going to change always. Okay, it can increase in number or it can decrease in number depending upon the biotic factors. Okay, because biotic factors will undergo decomposition. Yes, these complex organic forms will be converted into inorganic ones, inorganic substances. That means again what? Abiotic factors are released inside the soil. So depending upon the biotic factors, the proportion of the abiotic factors will change. Okay. Now every biotic factor affects the abiotic factors as well as other biotic factors around it. Okay. Now every living organism in an ecosystem plays a particular role while living, moving in that ecosystem. Okay. Now in a particular ecosystem, every living organism has a certain role, has a specific role, has a particular role to play. Okay. While living, while moving in that particular habitat or region. Okay. Both abiotic and biotic, both are having specific functions, students. Please remember this. Now, the position of any living organism in context to other living organisms and the role it is playing is called a niche. Okay, it is not niche or niche, whatever, it is niche. Okay, you have to spell it right. The position of any living organism in context to other living organisms and the role in it is playing is called as niche. Okay, for example, a sunflower plant in a garden evolves oxygen in the air and provides food and shelter for insects like ants, honeybees, etc. So this is an example of niche where you have to imagine a sunflower plant. What it is going to release? It is going to release oxygen, and at the same time it is going to provide food and shelter for other insects. Yes, students, most of the ecosystems are really very complex, and there is tremendous quantitative and qualitative variety of species in them. Okay, both quantity wise and quality wise you will get different kinds of species in them. So this was the structure of ecosystem. We understood the definition of niche. We understood that how abiotic factors will decide the number and the type of living organisms who will survive in it. Yes, this was really interesting, right? Students, in ecosystems of tropical country like India, few species of living organisms are found everywhere in a large number. Okay. Now remaining species of plants and animals are found in a small number. So some species are very few in number. Variety of ecosystems is found on earth. Now each place has a different ecosystem. For example, forest, pond, ocean, river, etc. Okay, these are all different ecosystems which are found on earth. Types of ecosystems are formed according to size. What is the size of the habitat? Where it is? Okay, place is important. What is the climate over there? Which types of plants and animals are surviving in it? Okay, depending upon that, we have different types of ecosystems that we are going to learn in land biomes. That would be the next concept of this lesson. Many types of ecosystems are found in biosphere. Their specific functions continue according to their environment. Though these ecosystems look independent and different, they are linked to each other directly or indirectly. Okay. Therefore, we cannot separate these small ecosystems from each other, but can classify them according to their functions. Broadly, if you see, all ecosystems are connected or linked with each other. Students, you cannot separate the small ecosystems from each other, but at least we can understand them after classifying. After classifying, we can understand the ecosystems more better, right? That is why classification is important, which type of ecosystem it is. Okay, identifying the type of ecosystem itself is really important to study that particular region or habitat. Okay, so with this, I complete the topic structure of an ecosystem. Next concept we will see in the next video. Till then, thank you and take care all. Welcome back to the science class, students. Students, in the previous video, we have seen structure of an ecosystem in detail. If you can recollect, we have seen biotic and abiotic factors. Yes, both are dependent upon each other. They are connected, they are linked with each other. And in fact, we have also learned that abiotic factors will decide which biotic factors will survive in it, what will be its number. Yes, so this everything will be decided by abiotic factors. Interesting, right? So in this video, let us understand interactions among different factors of an ecosystem. So let's begin. We're learning chapter number 18, ecosystems. Yes, let us concentrate on interactions among factors of an ecosystem. So what we are going to do? We are going to see a figure 18.2 in your textbook which is given. So that figure, let us understand and let us see whether they are actually related with each other or not. Let us check together. Yes, this is the figure that I am talking about. 18.2 figure, interactions among factors of an ecosystem. So this is the picture, students, and if you observe it carefully, I have 4 boxes, okay, given heading as abiotic factors. Biotic factors, in that we have plants which are called as producers. Then we have biotic factors which are consumers, all 3 different types they have given. And the fourth important box we have is microbes, that is decomposers. Okay. Now let us understand this particular circular pathway. So I'm going to read from clockwise, that is from abiotic factors to microbes. I'm going to read clockwise. So let us read it out and understand it together. Now, abiotic factors like nutrients, solar energy, carbon dioxide, nitrogen, water, minerals, etc. These are abiotic factors. They are taken up or absorbed by plants, which are biotic factors, which are living organism, yes, which are producers. They are going to carry out the special process which is photosynthesis. And students, photosynthesis is basically what? It is a food production process which is carried out in plants. Correct? So plants are producers. They are producing what? They are producing food. With the help of which process? Photosynthesis process. Okay, trapping the sunlight, then chlorophyll which is present in the leaves, they are responsible for photosynthesis process. Okay, we have learned this in lower classes. Coming downwards, now plants have produced their food. Now, who are going to consume this food from plants? Animals are going to consume food from the plants. Now, students, biotic factors, if you see under that consumers, we have three types: primary, secondary, and tertiary consumers. Right? That means what? They are heterotrophs, first of all, heterotrophic. Okay, in nature, because they are not going to prepare their own food, but in fact, they are dependent upon plants for food consumption. So biotic factors, that means animals, they are going to consume food from the plants. Okay. Now, after the death of animals, see there are two pictures they have shown, tiger and goat. So let us understand that after the death of goat or tiger, whatever dead remains are there, students, what will happen with that? This is my question to you. Okay, one day these organisms are going to die. See, dead remains would be there. Students, they are going to be decomposed. Okay, decomposition process will be carried out on them. By whom? By microbes, by microorganisms and fungi. So these microbes are nothing but decomposers. What they are doing? They are carrying out decomposition process. What happens in decomposition process? Students, let me tell you that decomposition process is a very complex process, because whatever complex substances are there, that is broken down into simple ones. Now these simple ones will be abiotic factors which are released into the soil in the atmosphere. Okay, that means that means complex organic to simple inorganic substances are formed by microbes or decomposers. Okay, so a lot of minerals are released inside the soil. Okay, so microbes decomposers is understood. Now free minerals are recycled. Okay, free minerals are also recycled here. And if you observe the picture carefully, in every process heat is evolved. Yes, in every process heat is evolved. So understood all the factors, abiotic factors, biotic factors. We have two things, that is producers and consumers, and then we have microbes. Students, please remember that each and every component, each and every factor, whether it is biotic or abiotic, is very much important for an ecosystem. All are interconnected with each other, all are related with each other. Just imagine that if dead remains of animals were not decomposed by microbes, what would have happened? So microbes are also important. These are very, very tiny, small. Sometimes we don't even see with our naked eyes. We have to use microscope for observing them. So these tiny creatures, even they have great role to play in the ecosystem. Understood? So this was the figure which shows the interaction among different factors of the ecosystem. I hope it is clear to you all now. Further concepts, students, we will see in the next video. Till then, thank you and take care all. Welcome to a fresh morning standard 8 class. Students, in lesson number 18, that is ecosystems, we have learned up till now what is an ecosystem, structure of an ecosystem, interactions among different factors of an ecosystem. Yes, we have learned these in detail in previous videos. Okay, in this video, let us understand biomes, land biomes, aquatic biomes. Okay, so let's get started. We are understanding chapter number 18, ecosystems, land biomes. Okay, in this video, let us understand land biomes. Students, in some regions on earth, a large area has same climate and abiotic factors. Okay, the living organisms in those area are also similar. So a specific ecosystem develops in a vast area, and such large ecosystems are called as biomes. Okay, specific ecosystems which develop in a particular vast area, yes, where they have same climate and abiotic factors. Okay, living organisms in those area are also similar. Okay, these biomes contain many small ecosystems. Okay, now these large ecosystems can contain many small ecosystems within it. Earth itself is a vast ecosystem. So earth itself is a vast ecosystem which consists many small ecosystems in it. Now, two types of biomes are found on the earth. Okay, biomes are classified into two types. The very first type is land biomes. Second is aquatic biomes. Okay. So in this video, let us understand land biomes. Okay. What are land biomes? The biomes which exist only on land, are called as land biomes. Okay, with the name itself we can make out that these biomes, they exist only on land. Due to unequal distribution of abiotic factors, different types of ecosystems exist. Okay, now what examples we have? We have grasslands, evergreen forest, deserts, iceland ecosystems, ecosystems in taiga region, tropical rainforest, etc., etc. These are different types of ecosystems which exist. And why they are different? Because they have unequal distribution of abiotic factors in them. Okay. Okay, let us understand the first type of land biomes, that is grassland ecosystem. Student, grasslands develop where rainfall is not enough to grow big trees. Yes, grasslands are trees which are very short in height. Yes, so they develop where rainfall is not enough. Vast growth of grass is found in this ecosystem. So we will find grasses. Lot of grasses can be seen in these ecosystems. Longer summer and limited rain develop dwarf plants in these areas. This is what I just said. Short plants, that is dwarf plants. Okay. Now why is it so? Because they have longer summer and they have very limited rainfall. So that is why we find dwarf plants, grasses. Now which animals stay there, in a habitat there? Let us understand that. Animals like goat, sheep, giraffe, zebra, elephant, deer, cheetah, tiger, lion, etc. they are found in this ecosystem. These animals, they exist in grassland ecosystem. Similarly, we have various kinds of birds, insects and microbes are also present. Okay, we have seen while learning the components of an ecosystem how several biotic and abiotic factors are related with each other. And each and every one has a specific role to play. Correct? So along with animal, students, we will always find other birds, insects, microbes for decomposition. Okay, so this was all about grassland ecosystem. See, giraffe. So this is grassland. Can you see dwarf plants? Okay, grasses. The next type we are going to see is evergreen forest. Okay, it's a natural ecosystem where variety of plants, animals and abiotic factors is found. Okay, it is a natural ecosystem. If you look at the picture, If you look at the picture, you will understand, bushes, long trees. Okay, so these are evergreen forest. Okay, different variety of plants and animals, then abiotic factors can be found here. Okay, we can find it here. Okay, there is a small piece of information, students, given in the textbook, that many ecosystems are conserved in around some 520 sanctuaries and national parks in India. We will just have a quick names of the national parks, which animals are present there, and everything we are going to discuss. Okay, so the Great Himalayan National Park is the largest sanctuary where white panther, which is a very rare species, is conserved. So rare species like white panther is conserved where? It is conserved in Great Himalayan National Park. The next point is elephants, wild bears, wild buffaloes, deers, tigers, panthers. They are conserved at Kaziranga, okay, which is in Assam. 2/3 of the total number of single-horned rhinos in the world is found at Kaziranga. Okay, so along with elephants, wild bears, other animals, we find single-horned rhinos, which is a remarkable thing to remember here. The sanctuary at Bharatpur is famous for aquatic birds. Okay. Ranthambore Sanctuary is famous for tigers. Gir Forest in Gujarat is the only habitat or shelter which is meant for the spectacular Asiatic lion. So students, we understood that different sanctuaries and parks, they inhabit different rare species, conserved species found on land. Okay. So these were the two types that we talked about, grassland ecosystem and evergreen forest. Okay. Now in the textbook, there are small charts, tables which are given for producers, primary consumers, secondary consumers, tertiary consumers and decomposers. Okay. It is on page number 125. These four tables, students, you can complete it. You can research it and find it out which other producers, primary consumers, secondary, tertiary and decomposers can be found in grassland ecosystem, and other table is for evergreen forest. Okay, try to complete it. So this was all about grassland and evergreen. In fact, we have seen land biomes in detail in this video. Let us understand aquatic biomes in the next video. Thank you. Welcome back to the science class, students. Students, in the last video we have seen what are biomes. Biomes are classified into two types, that is land biomes and aquatic biomes. So we have learned land biomes in detail. In this video, let us understand aquatic biomes. Okay, so are you all ready? We are learning chapter number 18, ecosystems. Yes, we are going to understand what are aquatic biomes. Aquatic word is related to water. Okay, so you have guessed it right. So we are going to talk about water ecosystem here. Aquatic ecosystem. Students, first of all, let us recollect the fact that 71% of the earth's surface is covered by water and only 29% has land on it. Therefore, the study of aquatic biomes is important or not? It is really very important. It becomes really important. Why? Because 71% of the earth's surface is covered by water. Now, according to area, okay, if you broadly overview the area, aquatic biomes are widespread. So they are widespread. Now, depending upon that, we have two types of aquatic systems: freshwater ecosystem, marine ecosystem or marine ecosystem, and creek ecosystem. Okay. So this is the picture which is given in your textbook as an aquatic ecosystem. Yes. Living creatures, plants, aquatic animals. Yes. We have microbes. Yes. Which are used as decomposers. So this is all about aquatic ecosystem. Okay, the very first step, that is freshwater ecosystem and marine water ecosystem, this we are going to learn in this video. Students, freshwater ecosystem, ponds, lakes and rivers. They come under aquatic ecosystem, ponds, lakes and rivers. The transition of energy in this ecosystem is through water currents and river. Transition is movement, transfer of energy. Now decomposers, they are settled at the bottom of the water reservoirs. Now they decompose what? With the name only we have understood in the previous videos that decomposers are the ones which are involved in decomposition process or the degradation process. So here the decomposers which are present at the bottom of the water reservoir, they are involved in degradation of the dead bodies of plants and animals and convert it into abiotic factors. Okay, so decomposers are present in aquatic ecosystem also. Coming to marine ecosystems or marine ecosystems. Marine plants grow in this ecosystems. We have marine plants which are different section group of plants that specially grow in this marine ecosystem. Shallow water contains small fishes, prawns feeding on algae. The central part of the sea has less number of aquatic living organisms and large fishes are secondary consumers here. Okay, so we have aquatic living organisms and then we have large fishes and they are going to be considered as secondary consumers. We know that we have primary, secondary and tertiary. So large fishes can be considered as secondary consumers in marine ecosystems. Now, ocean has a large amount of nutrients. The bottom of oceans has more number of decomposers. Dead bodies of plants and animals, waste materials are decomposed by bacteria. Bacteria is nothing but decomposers. Bacteria and fungi. Some groups of bacteria and fungi are involved in decomposition process. So, this was about marine ecosystems. Okay, with this we have understood aquatic biomes or aquatic ecosystem in detail, freshwater ecosystem and marine ecosystem with the two types. Okay, further concepts we will see in the next video. Till then, thank you and take care all. Welcome back to the science class, students. Students, in the previous video we have seen aquatic biomes, correct? The two types of freshwater ecosystem and marine ecosystem we have studied in detail, right? In this video, let us understand the last part or the section of this chapter, lesson number 18. Okay, so let's get started. We're learning chapter number 18, ecosystems. Yes, we are going to talk about a very important topic, that is diminishment of ecosystem due to human interference. Okay, what is diminishment of ecosystem? Decreasing the quality and quantity of ecosystem. Due to what? Due to human activities. Okay. Students, many human activities have side effects on functions of ecosystems and cause their diminishment. Okay, derogation. For example, mining and excessive cutting of trees, they changes the use of land. So interactions between biotic and abiotic factors are also affected. Correct? Now different human activities have different effects on ecosystems. Okay, they can be transformation of an ecosystem from one form to another, or it can also cause extinction of a particular species of animals or birds. Okay, so basically if you see, human activities are responsible for diminishment of ecosystem. Okay, this is the statement. Now to prove this statement we have some factors. Okay, let us see one by one. The very first one is increasing use of resources due to increased population. Students, please look at the picture, you will understand this point. See, humans are the consumers of an ecosystem. Okay, in the ecosystem humans have the role of consumers. Ecosystems can provide basic needs in normal conditions. In normal conditions they can provide all your basic needs, but due to increased population, man kept on snatching the natural resources on a large scale. Changing lifestyle demands more than necessary. Okay, our lifestyle is also responsible. Now that has increased stress on the ecosystems and has generated vast amount of waste. Okay, so increasing use of resources due to increased population. Let us see the second factor. Second factor is urbanization. Yes, construction of buildings, shopping malls, yes, roads and everything will come in under this point. Students, due to continuous process of urbanization, more and more agricultural lands, marshlands, wetlands, forest and grasslands, they are being destroyed for buildings and other basic facilities which we require as a modern lifestyle. As a result of these human activities, ecosystems, they either change completely or they will get destroyed. Okay, they get destroyed. If you look at the picture, you will understand there is no open land, there is no open ground, only buildings, yes, can be seen, residential complexes can be seen, shopping malls, facilities, basic amenities that we require, everything is built up. Okay, this is urbanization. Third, let us understand industrialization and traffic. Students, raw materials which is required for industrialization, they are all obtained from destroying forest. This will result in destruction of forest one day. Now, to provide the amenities for increased traffic, okay, there is a lot of traffic now. See, increased population means increased traffic. Please remember that. So many times what happens, roads and railways are built through forest and wetlands. So these all improvement, development we are doing, that is leading to devastation of ecosystem basically. Next, let us understand tourism. Look at the picture. Look at the picture. You will understand what I am trying to talk about. See, people visit scenic places mainly for nature watch, entertainment and visit to sacred places. So this is the picture where they are visiting a sacred place. A lot of amenities are created for this tourist. Okay, a lot of developments, facilities are given for this tourist, and this causes destructions of local ecosystem due to increased stay. So many people are visiting the places, and many a times, they create water pollution also. This creates tourism, actually creates water pollution sometimes. Okay, so that is tourism. Coming to fifth point, that is large dams. Students, dams cover vast lands. So the forest or grassland in that particular area, that will get converted into aquatic ecosystems. Okay. Now dams also lessen the water current in the lower area. Therefore, the previous ecosystems in that running water also get destroyed. So basically, construction of large dams is also one of the reason for diminishment of the ecosystem. Okay, this cannot be ignored. This is important, but this cannot be ignored as a reason for destruction of ecosystem. Coming to wars, students, differences and competition over land, water, mineral resources, or some economic and political reasons, they lead to war among human races. Okay, so we have heavy bombing and mine explosions, everything are done in wars, and these are not only life threatening, students, but also change or destroy the natural ecosystems which we have. See, natural disasters like earthquake, volcano, floods, droughts, and human interferences, this will result in changes or destruction of the ecosystem. Overall, if you see, natural disasters and human interferences, both are responsible for change or destruction of ecosystems. Correct? Natural ecosystems, students, must be protected as they maintain the balance in the biosphere. So conservation, protection of natural ecosystems is very important, students, for maintaining the balance in the biosphere, in the environment. Yes, so these were all the different reasons like human interference or activities which were responsible for deterioration or derogation, yes, of our ecosystems. I hope you have understood all the points. Okay, after this, students, you will get the PDF of question and answers. So here I declare that we have completed lesson number 18, and please do write the PDF of question answers after reading the chapter twice. Understand and read and then write. Okay, thank you so much.